all eyes are on Adams. Now, yesterday at his press conference, he decided to say that tourism is back, and who knew that not only does he ride the subways all the time, but he walks around Times Square. He takes a constitutional in Times Square every night.
Tourism is back, and anytime you walk the streets, particularly in Times Square, when I do one of my evening walks, you see just the excitement and the energy that's buzzing.
The excitement, yeah, to avoid the nudistas. Those are the women who are naked, who are painted red and blue, exposing themselves as they try to pickpocket tourists. And then all the superheroes and cartoon characters, illegal aliens from Passaic who come in each day on New Jersey Transit bus, and they're like really shaking people down, demanding that they get money. All the other hustlers in Times Square, and he feels that tourists are back. How can tourists be back? A third of the hotels are being utilized for illegal aliens. So how could the tourists be back? Where are they staying? By the way, the hotel owners and operators love it because limited hotel space means that you can charge more and more money per room. We're already being charged $400 a room at the old Milford Plaza, which is now New York Row. That's outrageous. No. Tourists are not back. And then he said something about jail. You know, he claims to be knowledgeable about jail, Justin Ellick. You know, he says he went to Spotswood. I don't believe that. And then he made this statement yesterday in his press conference that was absolutely stupido.
In my 22 years of policing, I would never allow a person that's accused of a crime to sit in the back of a vehicle without being handcuffed. Because oftentimes, even when we search people on the street, they secrete weapons on themselves. And you'll come later and then go through the car to do the final inspection, and you'll find sometimes a gun, sometimes a knife, sometimes a razor will be in the back of the car, even after you do a field inspection. And many of these inmates are masters at secreting weapons on themselves.
Did he say what I thought he said, secreting? Wrong way, Lou Rufino, are you aware that means that they would put these weapons in their anal cavities? I'd like to see how they negotiate a single-edged razor up their butt. Now, look, I've dealt with guys who had a single-edged razor between their cheek and their gum, and the moment you see that, you punch them right in the mouth. It's going to cut up their mouth. You don't give them a chance to pull out that single-edged razor and slit your jugular. You got to be preemptive. What the hell is Eric? I got to hear that again. Inmates, guys who just been arrested, withholding contraband, especially weapons, up their butt?
In my 22 years of policing, I would never allow a person that's accused of a crime to sit in the back of a vehicle without being handcuffed. Because oftentimes, even when we search people on the street, they secrete weapons on themselves. And you'll come later and then go through the car to do the final inspection, and you'll find sometimes a gun, sometimes a knife, sometimes a razor will be in the back of the car, even after you do a field inspection. And many of these inmates are masters at secreting weapons on themselves.
You would think one of the many members of his staff would say, Mr. Mayor, it's not exactly what they do. And then Adams, during the presser, said that no migrants are going to be sleeping in the street unless they choose to.
We're not telling anyone they have to sleep outside on the street. We're giving them the policy. People are making the decision that this is what they want to do.
Now, hold on a second. You mean to tell me an illegal alien is laid up at the Milford Plaza, New York Row now, or the Watson Hotel, and now it's time that they got to be shipped out to another shelter, let's say to the outer boroughs. It's not necessarily a hotel, it's a normal shelter, and they choose to sleep in the streets in this weather, Eric Adams? Well, no, he's a damn it. You know, he's obnoxious, omnipotent, pretentious, obstinate, because he thinks he knows it all.
We're not telling anyone they have to sleep outside on the street. We're giving them the policy. People are making the decision that this is what they want to do. We have created rooms for people to wait in. We have done everything to accommodate, to say, here's what's possible. And so to give the impression that, we're just evicting, as is used, people out, it's not being honest. It's not being honest.
I'm going to be out today at the Roosevelt Hotel, Justin Ellick, and I'm going to be out at Floyd Manor Field. I'm going to ask, obviously through interpreters, the North Africans speak Arabic and French, and the Venezuelans speak Spanish. Would they prefer to sleep in the streets if they had to be moved from this facility to another normal shelter? I guarantee you there's nobody who's going to opt to sleep in the streets. And then he spoke about, again, he always reverts to this, how, he had been abused and basically how others have been abused. And he's never going to allow the police department to abuse anybody.
You can't take away as a child the being abused by police officers. Young man being stopped unjustly. I don't think there is an African-American or Latino young man that grew up in my era that didn't go through this. I was stopped as a police officer while off duty. Cops would sit around and say what they've gone through and how they got into experiences. And so I'm not going to allow our police department to be abusive.
Wait a second. Justin Ellick, could you find out if he ever got a JD card? I did. If he ever got wooden shampoos from cops, I did, from the 69th precinct. I wasn't Hispanic. I wasn't black. This guy, man, he can't have it both ways. Can't have it both ways. And then he talked about the paperwork that a cop has to indulge themselves in, and under this new bill, how much more they'll be responsible for.
Each one of those individuals, you are going to have to do that documentation. It's already on your body camera, and you got to do it again. And so anyone who's dismissive of, this only takes 60 seconds or a matter of seconds, let's say it takes a minute. That's 1,000 minutes.
That's 1,000 minutes. And now here's Mr. Subway expert, Mr. World Traveler. He was asked to comment on these low-budget barriers that were put up on 195th First Street Station and the number 1 train up in Inwood. I mean, they totally low budget. And he weighed in as an international traveler.
When I'm in other countries, they do the same thing. And so I think we have to move towards how do we separate the platform from passengers to sort of prevent people from being shoved on the track.
Can I hear that one more time, Lou? Because I didn't quite get the gist of what he was saying there.
When I'm in other countries,
Stop that. The only countries he's been to lately is Turkey. We know that 7 times to collect the loot from Erdogan. They do have I believe they have a subway. I've never been to Turkey in Constantinople. I believe. So I don't know what the hell he's talking about. I have no idea what he is talking about. But he said he's doing his part.
We need to figure out how to prevent some people from being pushed on the tracks. We're doing our part, dealing with those with severe mental health illness. Deputy Mayor Williams Ison and her team sitting down our outreach workers to sort of, talk people to get the care they need. So we're going to do our part. Everyone must contribute to finding safer ways to protect passengers.
I've seen nobody out in the subways doing any kind of mental health interventions. The city spends millions of dollars, gives it to different groups. To be honest, I'm down there every day. I've never seen anybody doing interventions. I've never seen them patrolling along with the cops. Hopefully today he gives us some insight at his State of the City address at Fernando Mateo's restaurant, Zona da Cuba. Oh, my God. He has the worst friends out there. And then he says he's a man of the people, Eric Adams, in his $5,000 customized suits. He's a public servant.
The term co or pro and all those other terminologies, they don't mean anything to me. We're all colleagues. We were elected by the people. I'm a public servant. I walk in a room and people stand up for me. I say, don't stand for me. I stand for you.
What? Don't stand for me. Are you kidding? He loves that. And in fact, he says, would you make a donation to my legal defense fund? I need money desperately because the U.S. Attorney's Office has an unlimited supply of money.
You brought in more than $650,000 to your legal defense fund. That's a lot of money in a little bit of time in the last 2 months. Wondering what type of donors gave that money to your legal defense fund.
Jack will go into your first part of the question. And I would just say
Boy, he stumbles and mumbles. I can tell you there are a number of people who've come to me who have said that he has texted them asking that they contribute to his legal defense fund, and they feel like they'd like him to lose their number because they don't want to end up in the newspapers. And then lastly, because today he'll probably talk about how much better the city is doing fiscally than it was a few months ago when we were on the brink of fiscally dissolving. You know, it's feast or famine with this guy. You know what this reminds me of? Justin, did you ever see the movie Casino with Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci? Did you ever see that movie? Remember when De Niro's character Sam is speaking to Justice McQueen about firing Webb's brother-in-law, and he came up with the statement of the day.
That means either he was in on it, or forgive me for saying this, he was too dumb to see what was going on.
So do we think that Eric Adams has been in on this? Or do we think that he's too dumb to know what's going on? Could I hear that one more time from De Niro's lips?
That means either he was in on it, or forgive me for saying this, he was too dumb to see what was going on.
Straight from the movie script of the Casino. I'll be talking about this on the weekend on the overnights. We'll give all of you an opportunity to weigh in on that. Up next, it's left versus right as Anthony Weiner enters into the gladiator ring after the end of the New Hampshire primary just yesterday.